The following program is seen statewide on California Public Television.
I love you, California. You're the greatest state of all.
It's one of the most beautiful places in California, nestled on the tip of the Monterey Peninsula on our state's central coast. It's also a place of peace and tranquility, a place to relax and unwind. A refuge by the sea. A refuge that's full of history and charm, and is definitely one of California's golden parks. Okay, here we go. Our adventure begins, and our tour guide is going to be Ranger Bill Walcott. And Bill, the first question we have to answer is, this is an absolutely beautiful location. Where are we right now?
Okay, Huell, well, we're on the Monterey Peninsula in the town of Pacific Grove. This is the westernmost point of the Monterey Peninsula, right near Point Pinos.
And specifically, what is this?
Well, this is Asilomar State Beach and Conference Grounds. What we're looking at right here are historic buildings and our center meadow that in 1913, it was the camp for the YWCA.
Okay, now let's talk a little bit about that. The YWCA. Why did the YWCA want to have a camp here on the Monterey Peninsula?
Well, it started in 1897 with the concept of having a regional conference. And for several years in the early 1900s, they were holding their regional conferences in Santa Cruz, just up the Monterey Bay from here. And the area that they had been staying at there burned down. And in 1913, the concept of having their own place, the YWCA's very own camp, came to be.
So they established this, and what did they want it to be? What was their vision of what this camp was going to be?
Well, the YWCA was committed to developing young women, making them part of the workforce, giving them the support that they needed to be part of the modern world. So this camp was a center where these women could get together, develop their professional skills, and focus on their own self-development, really.
So this wasn't established as a place to go camping, per se. It was established as a place to come and learn.
Yeah, it was more like you could call it a summer camp, which is when most of the camps were occurring, which was during the summer.
But they weren't in tents. They were in these amazing buildings, and these buildings themselves are part of what make this place so special. Tell us about the history of the building.
Well, from the very beginning, Julia Morgan was a big part of the development of the camp. On the grounds today, we have over 50 buildings, 11 of which are original Julia Morgan structures.
And Julia Morgan, of course, one of the most renowned women in the field of architecture, who also, I guess her claim to fame would be she designed and built Hearst Castle, but among other things, she built these structures as well.
Right. Morgan had this connection with the Hearsts, and the Hearsts, Phoebe Apperson Hearst, brought her along on this project, knowing that she was a good representative of women, women on the forefront. Julia Morgan really kind of was a pioneer in architecture for women.
Now, what was Julia Morgan's concept behind designing these buildings? What was she trying to accomplish?
Well, that's an interesting question. When Julia Morgan was brought to the project by the YWCA, she was given constraints on what the practical purpose of the buildings were to be. But she was given some creative free will on how they were going to be carried out aesthetically. And these buildings here were good representatives of the arts and craft movement, which was in response to the prim and proper Victorian times.
It's kind of an interesting mix of stone and wood, isn't it?
Right. The arts and craft movement relied on using native materials. It was driven by a connection of nature to architecture and to the people who live there.
Well, that's what this place is all about, the connection of nature and architecture. So this was perfect for Julia Morgan.
Yeah, it was a very good recipe, and it's something that stood true to this day. The women on grounds here were reflecting. They were getting in touch with nature and with themselves and developing themselves. And still today, we use the grounds in the same way. There are no televisions or telephones in the rooms here.
Okay, we are inside. This is called the...
This is the administration building. This originally it was called the Phoebe Apperson Hearst Social Hall. And this building was one of the first on the grounds, and it was built in 1913. This was the check-in point for the girls as they were coming to camp.
And what would go on inside here?
Well, just like today, we've got billiards tables and ping pong. This was a recreation and social center, so there were young women playing here, playing games, and also the classes. This was one of the first kind of classroom settings that they had here.
I love the big stone fireplace here, and I particularly love the open beams on the ceiling. That was obviously part of her scheme.
Right, and once again, that's part of the arts and crafts design. Certainly the fireplace is a central item of the building here with the stones and their vertical positioning on the hearth there. So even when the fire is not burning, you get the feeling of the flames licking up towards the ceiling there.
And you pointed out something else that I would never have noticed. This little handle attached to a rope right here. Now I'm not going to pull it. What is this all about?
Right, that's the dinner bell. And if you're here, if you're lucky enough to be here right before a mealtime, you may be actually summoned to pull that.
So if you pull this, it rings the dinner bell on top of the building?
Right.
And lets everybody know it's time to come eat?
That's right.
We'll be back at noon. Will you all let me ring the bell if we come back at noon?
Sure.
Anybody here gets to ring the bell if they're here at noon, right?
That is correct.
And there's no way I could ring it now just to test it?
Well, you might get in trouble with the dining room.
Yeah, people will be coming to lunch 3 hours early. When this opened in 1913, was there anything else around here, or was part of the appeal that it was out in the country?
Well, part of the appeal was that it was out in the country, that this was a retreat area. The land was originally part of a larger chunk of land that eventually became Pebble Beach Company.
Oh boy! You mean the Pebble Beach Golf Course?
Right. This was contiguous with that, and at the time, the landowners chiseled off this small section and donated it to the YWCA for this camp.
But there was nothing else around here. When the young women came here, they were going out in the middle of nowhere.
Well, this was out. Yes, this was out on the coast, out on the rugged coastline, right.
All right, they got beautiful buildings to come to, and here's another one right over here. And this is one of Julia Morgan's original buildings. The name of this?
This is the chapel.
And this is what amazes me. I was expecting something that looked like a chapel from the outside, like a little church or chapel or something.
Well, the history of this building is that they quickly ran out of space in the social hall, and they needed classroom space. They were growing. The camps were very successful, and so they designed this structure. Julie Morgan designed this structure to facilitate the several classes at once.
Oh, this is absolutely beautiful in here. Now, I'm sure that there are a lot of stories connected with how this room was designed and what went on in here.
Certainly, there's a lot of details in these buildings that were very well thought out and that we just experience walking into the room. Things like this grade that we're standing on here. The floor is actually slanted, and that's to give us a feeling of being here in the dunes where the surface is uneven. And once again, the use of windows. We've got a grand window facing west, right out towards the sea. This was a chapel, a place of inspiration. And the windows, the orientation of it all, it's meant to inspire the women to go out and face the challenges of the world. We've got an inscription from the Bible along the walls here.
And what's the inscription?
Well, it's using the ocean as a metaphor, challenging the mighty breakers, and going atop of the mountains to proclaim your victory, and that's for the women to go out into the world, be successful, and be proud of what they're accomplishing.
So this whole experience when they came in here was to inspire and to push them forward. I mean,
right. There's also a practical sense to it. This room was divided into 5 different actual little sub-classrooms through partitions.
Okay, look, here's what you were talking about over here. One of the little side rooms with, and here are the partitions right here.
That's right. So they could have several things going on at once in this room and break the room up into smaller areas. This was actually a library at the time. This was loaded with books back here by the fireplace.
Wow. And didn't you say something about this kind of looking like a ship?
Well, yes. You can see the ceiling structure in here. The roof has kind of a nautical feel. You could envision yourself sitting here feeling inspired and with all of these people getting up and carrying this, it's almost like a boat right out towards the sea to take on these challenges.
Heading west, although in this situation, rather than go west young man, it was go west young woman.
That's right.
Now, we hooked up with this lady right out here. She was walking down the pathway here. Why are you here?
Why am I here? I'm here with a University of California program called MSAP. It's the Management Skills Assessment Program.
So you're here for a conference.
That's correct.
Now, do you know anything about the history of this place?
I don't know a lot about the history of it. I know it's incredibly beautiful, and I was here 2 years ago for a wedding for some of my husband and my closest friends.
So when you're here,
yes,
you are inspired.
I am completely inspired. Just everywhere you look, there's beauty. And even when it's not sunny, the first day we came, there was sun, which was glorious. But even when it's not sunny, it's something to behold.
What is it? Just the trees? Is it the architecture? Is it the location?
It's a combination. I think that there's some sense of community. There are bunches of groups here, people I don't even know. Our group is about 60, but everyone smiles, gives you a howdy. It's just really nice. So.
See, now that's what this place was started to be.
Exactly, and for some reason that chemistry stays true to today, even though it's not a YWCA facility anymore. Different groups from different backgrounds and different focuses all come together here and works out really well.
But now what's really exciting about this is that anybody can come here and stay. This is open to the public.
Yes, as she was mentioning, we've got groups on grounds, sometimes groups as large as 200, 300, 400 people, but we also have, as they're available, we have individual rooms that someone just driving through Pacific Grove can stop in and get a room for the night.
And this is where we stayed last night, the Lodge,
right,
which is a very historic place.
Right, this is where the important people have always stayed, Huell.
Oh, excuse me.
In 1916, the National Board came out from New York City to visit this camp they'd heard so much about. And upon arrival, we're a bit taken aback at the so-called primitive living arrangement with girls living in tents and kind of living in the wilderness. They're very concerned. Matter of fact, they threatened to close the camp. Well, the camp managers got together, they brought in Julia Morgan, and they said, build a building that we can house the management and the National Board at, and that they'll feel comfortable in.
We got here, checked in about 10 o'clock last night, dead tired, and when I walked in this room here in the Lodge, this place was so warm and so inviting. I almost didn't want to go into the room. It's so nice right out here. Has it always been used as kind of a area to congregate here at the Lodge?
Right. There are these common areas scattered throughout the grounds, little gathering spaces, often with a fireplace as a central piece of attention in the room.
Yeah.
Also, many of our rooms have a piano.
Yeah.
Almost all of our historic buildings have a piano of sorts so that people could get together and socialize and play music.
See, I like the sound of the steps, the old creaky steps coming up the staircase. And when we got here last night and opened up this room, well, first look at this wonderful paneling and the way the place looks, and then to come into the room, this was like something out of an old novel. It really has a wonderful feel to it.
It certainly does. The architecture and even the furnishings now with these wrought iron beds to retain that that rustic feel. There's a lot of ways we could have gone with the decorations here, but this retains kind of the original feel to it.
But what I find interesting, if you say that this was built for the bigwigs to make them feel more comfortable, look at this. To me, this is as basic as it gets.
Well, it's certainly a lot different than sleeping in a tent, which is what they're comparing it to.
I got you. Okay, and we got a fireplace here, these wonderful old doors. It's just the closets have the old smell to them. You can go out and look outside on the patio out there on the balcony. The whole place just has a great feel to it. I don't know when I have slept as well. I opened up the windows and heard the birds, and I think there were even some frogs going last night. It's a great place.
It certainly is. It certainly is.
Now, is this the kind of room that's available for anybody that comes that wants to check in and stay here? Just anybody?
Absolutely. If there's space available, then you can check in at the administration building and get a room, and you can request a historic building or not. You can be also in one of our more modern facilities.
Now look at this. Right in the middle of the campgrounds is this area that is totally undeveloped. It's as wild as the day this place was built.
Right. Well, that's a consideration in designing and managing the grounds here, is to retain these pockets of nature, to retain the camp feel. We've avoided in making centralized parking areas or even centralized lodging facilities. Everything's interspersed with the natural surroundings.
Wow, this is absolutely beautiful right here. Just this untamed piece of real estate right here in the middle of it all.
It certainly is.
Okay, we're back. And what did you all say?
We thought you were kidding about coming back to ring the bell.
But it's 12 o'clock, so I get to ring the bell, right? Now, how many times do I ring it?
As long as you like.
6 to 8 times, please.
6 to 8 times, please. Because this is one of the Asilomar traditions, right? Been going on forever.
Yes,
Okay, here we go.
it's heavy.
There it goes.
65 more times to go.
So people all over the campground now are hearing this,
That's right.
and they know it's time to come to lunch.
They're running to the dining hall as we speak.
They're pouring into the chow hall. You heard the bell ring, didn't you?
That's it. Lunch bell. That's right.
Listen, I pulled it myself with gusto.
All right.
This is part of the tradition. Have you all eaten in there yet?
Yeah.
Good food?
Last couple of days.
We hadn't eaten there yet.
Oh, it's the best. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
The best. It's like being at summer camp.
Crocker Hall. That's the historic name of the chow hall.
That's right.
Now, what went on in here other than, I guess, eating?
Well, the original dining hall was in a circus tent. So
in a circus
right,
tent?
Along with the housing in the tents, the original dining facilities were also in a tent. And after a few good storms, they decided it was time for a more solid building. So the Crocker Dining Hall was constructed. The front half of it is original Julia Morgan structure. And the back half, which is now that houses the actual cooking facility, was the John Carl Warnicke structure.
Everybody is pouring in to eat, aren't you?
Yes. We have.
Everybody's worked up a good appetite.
You're hungry, yeah.
Good food, good food. Come on in.
Oh, yeah. Thrilled to have some more lumberjack food.
Lumberjack food. Now, what is that all about?
It's just hearty. It's tasty. It's hearty. And, there's nothing light about it.
Well, those original women who came out here with the YWCA back in the early part of the 1900s, they needed some good solid food, don't you think?
And so do we. So no complaints. I'm ready for more. You're keeping me away from it.
She's heading in for the lumberjack food. Boy, look at the line. This is a very popular place. Now, what's going on over here, fellas? I thought this was supposed to be for the guests.
We'll be
The only
guests.
people I see eating here are park employees.
We're guests too, though. We're here on a training class, and so we're eating with the rest of the people.
Oh, so this is a training class from State Park.
Yes.
Now, here's the lady we met earlier.
Yes, here I am.
We
and
found
it's
you
time
here
for
in the
lunch.
chow hall.
Of course you did. It's time to eat.
Now, describe the atmosphere of this place for people
Well, just
who've
look
never
around
been here.
for yourself. It's fabulous.
Yeah.
It's like an old-fashioned chow hall, and the food is hearty. I have cleaned my plate every single day that I came, so I love it. It's really good, all-American, yummy stuff.
So this is a place. Let me put some words in your mouth.
Okay,
this
please
is a
do. Let's
place
hear.
that nourishes the spirit.
I think
and
so.
also the body.
Absolutely. It's a really wonderful place. It feels like a grown-up camp. We've all talked about that. It's like going back to camp, you know? You get to have fun and chat at the table and just relax. And some of us have had a really tough working day, and so now we're happy to just be with each other and hang out around good food, comfort food, you know?
Now, another aspect of the Asilomar experience, and Bill, this should bring back many great memories for you, right?
Lots and lots of memories.
He was a good student.
He was an excellent student, and a student not all that long ago. And Huell, I'd like to welcome you to the William Penmont Jr. Training Center. My name's Brock Stenman, and I'm
the head guy.
director of the facility, so yes.
Now, tell us what happens here. This is kind of like the academy for all the state park rangers.
It is. It's the academy for all of California state parks, including the new state park rangers who come here for about 6 months for their initial training prior to going to their first assignment in a California state park unit.
Oh boy, we are inside. Boy, there's a lot of energy in here. What's happening in here?
Well, this is a class on campfire program presentations. They're getting ready for their programs, which they'll be conducting in a couple of weeks, getting ready for their final exam.
Campfire presentation programs. Do you mind if I talk to you about your campfire presentation?
Not at all.
What are you going to be talking about?
I'm doing mine on mountain lions in California.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Now what does that involve? Slides, music?
Slides, music, educational information, and you do a 20-minute program, which also includes like a campfire section where you either play a game or you sing a song.
So are you doing research now about mountain lions?
Yes, that's what
the deal?
yeah.
And you get to choose your own?
For the most part, yeah, we get to choose a topic that's interesting to us and that might relate to the park that we're going to.
It's kind of like a term paper.
Oh, yes, it's like going back to school.
Let's look over here because there's a lot. What's happening over here? What are we doing over here?
Making some copy slides.
Of what?
Barn owls.
The barn owl. So that's your presentation,
Yes,
the barn
sir.
owl.
It is.
Now, what are you going to tell everybody about barn owls? Get me excited. Pretend like we're at a campfire right now.
Well, I'm working on that, sir, and I'm going to be telling them about their habitat, what's affecting their habitat currently, what are some changes that can be done to keep the barn owl thriving and keeping the rodent population under control.
Now, how long before you graduate?
About 3 weeks, sir.
So now you're already wearing the California State Parks patch.
Yes.
But you're not technically a ranger full-fledged yet,
Not
are
yet,
you?
sir. On the 27th, when we graduate, we get our badges, and we'll be full-fledged rangers then.
Can I congratulate you ahead
You
of time?
sure can, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. And coming over here, we've got an eagle going up here.
Yes, sir.
Your name?
Mark DeLeon, sir.
Well, tell us about your campfire presentation.
I'm doing it on the bald eagle, the American bald eagle, sir.
Bald eagle. Tell me something. Get me excited about the bald eagle.
Well, I got some pretty neat slides coming up here. I got to show you.
So you're doing a slideshow?
Oh, yeah. I'm working on my slideshow and getting my timing down with my music.
Uh-huh.
Although Cyrus's music back here is throwing it off a little bit.
A very audio-visual thing going on.
Yeah, the more senses we can appeal to, the more the audience is going to like it.
So is this going to be a presentation that you literally do out by the campfire, or is this going to be in a conference center?
It could be. It could be in the campground or the conference center, yeah.
But a big part of what you have to do as a ranger is be comfortable interacting with people in all kinds of situations.
Exactly.
You have to be a people person.
Very much a people person, sir.
Are you a people person?
I am a people person, sir.
So you have to like people, and you have to like and appreciate nature as well.
Oh, yes, of course.
Your name?
Mark DeLeon.
Ranger to be.
Ranger to be.
Now, wait a minute. Your patch says California Lifeguard.
Yes, sir.
So you'll be a lifeguard in one of the parks.
Huntington Beach. Huntington State
cool.
Beach.
Have you been down there yet?
I have been. So were you already a
A
graduate?
lifeguard. Actually, I was a lifeguard, seasonal lifeguard with Laguna Beach before I moved on to state parks as a
So
full-time
now you're
lifeguard.
coming here to get certified with the big guys.
Correct, but we still do, as lifeguards, we still do everything else that rangers do as far as interpretation and stuff. So
And
right
what are you
now,
working on here? Look at all this stuff.
I got the dissolve unit. I got 49 slides here. I got my music that I picked out for my slideshow presentation, and I have the slides dissolving to the music.
To talk about
shorebirds, and at Huntington State Park they have a snowy plover habitat that's restricted to humans, and also a new interpretive section that's going to be built that my focus is going to be on snowy plovers and shorebirds.
That is great. Congratulations. This is so interesting.
It's just a typical day at the Mott Training Center. One day they'll be in here putting together interpretive programs. Another day they might be out at the range learning how to shoot their weapons. They might be involved in resource management activities, the whole range and scope of what rangers and lifeguards are called upon to do.
Right here at Asilomar, at the Training Academy.
That's right.
There they are, getting ready to go out on the job in our state parks. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Well, that's it. That's been our day here at Asilomar, and we're ending our adventure just about where we started it, Bill. First off, I'd like to thank you for taking us around.
Thanks for coming up.
The technical name is?
Asilomar State Beach and Conference Grounds.
Conference ground, and again, the word Asilomar means?
That is a refuge by the sea.
A refuge by the sea. What a perfect name for this beautiful place, started in 1913 by the YWCA to inspire and educate young women from all over the country. It's been a state park since
1956.
Since 1956. So all of this now is available for all of us to come and enjoy in this wonderful tradition. Asilomar, a refuge by the sea, and definitely one of California's golden parks. Now this is exciting. These are the kind of things, spontaneous things that happen to you when you come to Asilomar. We were walking down one of these paths. We came upon these four guys standing out here in the forest singing to their heart's content. You all were inspired by all of this nature, weren't you?
Oh, we were, yeah. We're visiting the area. I said, I've been to these conference grounds. They're magnificent. We got to go there and look.
And sing.
Well, sing, of course.
Will you sing for us and inspire us as well?
I'd love to.
All right, here we go.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world, wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Well, hello everybody, I'm Huell Hauser, and I sure hope you enjoyed our visit to Asilomar. If you'd like to go on this adventure again or share it with your family and friends, it's available on video cassette or on DVD. All you have to do is call 1-800-266-5727, and we'll be glad to send it to you right away.